Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. We've got 3 items on the agenda tonight of the Community and Economic Development Committee. The first is the the item of the Vermont Community Development Program CDBG application for the Rutland Housing Authority, Rutland Redevelopment Authority, City of Rutland. I'm going to start with a motion because I'd like to tee this up with all 3 items that we have on tonight. Look for a seconder, and then we can get into discussion and then vote accordingly. So I'll start with motion number 1. The Community and Economic Development Committee, and I move the following, recommends the Board of Aldermen authorize the City of Rutland to apply to the Vermont Community Development Program, VCDP, for a Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. The proposal is to apply for up to $350,000 in CDBG funds to be used to accomplish the following activities: replacement of electrical service to buildings at Templewood Court in Rutland, a 60-unit, very low-income senior living community owned by the Rutland Housing Authority. And I would so move.
Second.
Okay, so we'll open that up to discussion. Since the executive director of the Rutland Housing Authority is here, Kevin Loso, do you want to embellish it all?
I assume everyone got the narrative, but just to provide you with, I guess, a reminder. Templewood Court was built back in the 60s under what was the Public and Indian Housing Program. It consists of 60 units. It's well over 50 years old. And needless to say, best practice in the way of electrical code, for example, has changed dramatically over the last 50 years. That combined with, site conditions, not surprisingly, in most communities where public housing was developed, the land was either swamp or ledge, right? I don't want to suggest that Templewood Court was a swamp, but it was a very, very wet site. I'll leave it at that. So over time, between the electrical codes and the site conditions, we've experienced some normal wear and tear. This is not something that could be addressed through preventive maintenance. The reality is that the system is just obsolete. So much so that back in, I think it was 2021, our insurance company, by our invitation, came and did a site visit, and they reinforced our suspicion, which was, you need to address this, and it doesn't need to happen tomorrow, but it needs to happen. So we secured an engineer, put the project out to bid. We had an independent cost estimate of just around $400,000. The low bid, only bid came in at $750,000. Big gap that we could not absorb at the time. So you might remember congressionally delegated spending. It's, some say it, some call it pork barrel, whether or not they're, for or against it. We were very fortunate to secure allocation through Congresswoman Balint's office of $650,000. So we moved forward again. This time, the independent cost estimate came in quite a bit higher at $1.5 million. So we postponed issuing the RFP. We're very fortunate, that same insurance company that I referenced earlier has something called a loss prevention fund. They're a member-owned captive. And last year we were awarded $300,000. It was the highest grant nationwide. So we eked a little closer, but we still hadn't met our goal. So this application is to help bridge the gap. It is, we hope to combine it with the Vermont Housing Conservation Board grant that will get us to the point that we need in order to move forward on the work. As was pointed out, Templewood Court is, I don't know if the chair mentioned this particular aspect, but it is 60 units. It served literally thousands of elderly folks over the years. And we are really one of the few entities in the county that are able to address the needs of people at or below 30% of area median income. And I can tell you that it has been an extraordinary resource, and with your help, it'll continue to be an extraordinary resource for the citizens of Rutland. One of the things that came up during one of our initial meetings, and I'm not sure that everyone realizes this, but the Housing Authority is an instrumentality of the city of Rutland. Our mayor appoints our board of commissioners, and we work very closely with the city on a number of housing issues. I will spare you my spiel tonight, but I will be back for a meeting of the Board of Aldermen at some point to talk about our experience with the incident at Sheldon Towers, in which we had a fire that resulted in a massive relocation. I want to share that story with you at some point because it was extraordinary at every level, and I want to address this level of support that we receive from the city of Rutland across the board. But I'll do that another time. Any questions for me?
Yep. President Allaire.
So just a couple of questions. Timing wise, what's the turnaround once this application, let's say it's approved tonight, which I have no reason to believe it won't be, for you to figure out that you're going to get the grant. The reason I'm saying that is because you have provided us with a couple of significant cost increases on the same project, and I'm saying the sooner you get this done.
Absolutely, absolutely. I should say that we did put the project out to bid, but this time it was for a construction manager versus a straight contractor who would come in and, so we have secured the construction manager. As far as this application goes, I'm going to defer to Barbara in terms of when we would anticipate a decision. If
the decision would be June 11th is when the CD board meets on this grant round, and it takes about 30 days to hear after that board meeting is held whether or not you've been approved for the grant, and then it's another 2 months after that that you sign a grant agreement. So we're looking at the end.
8 or 9 months out.
And so I mentioned earlier that we're also going to be applying for Vermont Housing Conservation Board funding, and that was frankly because VCDP was like, "Ooh, I don't think we can bite off that big a part of the project." So it has a somewhat comparable timeline. As far as congressionally delegated spending grant, we have 8 to 10 years, which is quite extraordinary. We don't want to go that far, obviously, but the loss prevention grant that we received from our insurance company has a deadline of 2027. So obviously, we don't want to go anywhere near that timeline, and that's why we're anxious to secure your support and anxious to move forward with the project.
Alderwoman Davis.
Thank you.
Just a question, Barb, is there a local match for us with a grant? No.
Well, the match is all that other funding that they have.
Right, but nothing from the city. Okay.
So just to recap, we've secured $950,000 at this point, and the gap will be filled by VCDP and hopefully VHCB.
And I always look at that as, yes, it's gap funding, but it's leveraging
Exactly.
3 to 1.
Exactly.
Alex over here.
And in the interest of full disclosure, not that it had anything to do with it, and not that it's particularly relevant here, but I'm the incoming director for the insurance company that I referenced earlier. But it was a completely blind process where they didn't know who the application came from. So even with that, as I said, we rose right to the top in terms of receiving the largest grant.
I think it's a competitive application in that you have to have a but-for clause in there, but not for the Vermont Community Development Program funding. The project won't go forward, and I think in this case that's very true. So,
Exactly.
let me just get to.
We're anxious to get it going.
I just wanted to confirm the work being done. Did I hear service entry cable replacements?
You talking to me?
Yeah,
Well, I will try to answer that question. I am not the engineer, but let me give you a little more detail on the project. We're talking about the entire infrastructure, including transformers, including the lines from each building, including breaker boxes. And so there's that aspect of it. We also need to do some excavation work to help address some of the groundwater issues. And then what I find most exciting is that when we get to this point, we'll position the organization to move towards less of a reliance on fossil fuels. We're looking at the possibility of heat pumps, which we have found extraordinarily effective at our Rutland area bridge housing project up on Woodstock Avenue. We virtually pay $100 a month for electricity for 9 units of housing, including common areas. So, yeah, I didn't mean to be.
No, thank you. I overheard service entry and then I started hearing the price tags and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
yeah. It is a
that
crazy
makes a
price
lot more
tag.
sense. And I'll note that current code also requires service entry cables to
Yeah,
come with
exactly.
disconnects. So that's a benefit for our first responders.
Yeah, I'm very confident that all of that and some, plus some.
Alderman Gillum and
I
then
think this is a
Alderman Cooperly.
competitive issue with the state, competing with other
Yeah,
communities.
And frankly, that's why they suggested that we go to, even though we've secured significant funding already, in order to bridge the gap, they want us to go to get another source so that, you know, all the funds we have so far are not state funds necessarily, so they wanted to share the load between VCDP and VHCB.
Alderman Cooperly.
Yeah, Kevin, thanks. Do you maintain a deferred maintenance program?
Oh, absolutely,
Please.
absolutely. But I would share 2 points, or one primary point is that when we were in the public housing program, Congress never allocated sufficient funds to do capital improvements, and this is clearly a major capital improvement project. And so we've done things over the years in order to keep the system going and keep the system as code compliant as possible. But after 50 years, it's quite frankly, the system is obsolete. And in order to bring it to the level that we need to in the eyes of our insurance company and in the eyes of our electrical engineer and whatnot, we really need to make major upgrades to the system.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Kevin. If there's no further questions, I think we'll call the question.
Thank you.
I do want to make 2 quick notes. One, thanks to the Rutland Redevelopment Authority for bringing this application forward, and also a note that there will be a public hearing on the project scheduled at 6:45 at City Hall on February 17th, Tuesday. Copies of the application are available here at City Hall. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, we will call the question then. All those in favor of the motion to authorize this application to go forward at this juncture, recommending to the Board of Aldermen, I should say, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
The second item in committee was the signage at the corner of Madison and South Main Street. So I have sort of an update to read tonight, which won't take any action by the board this evening. So I'll read it accordingly. The direction/point of interest street signage at South Main Street and Madison Street is currently being addressed by the Downtown Rutland Partnership in communication with the Giancola Company. I do want to thank Hal Asante, Executive Director at the DRP, for his time and attention to this and his communication with Dave Giancola, President of Giancola Company. I find no further action necessary at this time. However, this item will remain in committee until such time as installation of the desired signage is complete. I let both parties know they didn't need to come to the meeting tonight because they've gotten together, they've worked out what the sign should say, it's in production, and it has a installation date. So I think we can just leave it right there, but we'll leave it in committee till it's up and we can be satisfied that it's complete, and then we'll report it out accordingly. But that's all for that item tonight. And both of them were willing to come tonight if need be, but I didn't think it was necessary. They've done what we hoped they would do and worked it out, and it's near completion, so amen. So, last but definitely not least, again, I would like to make a motion on the subject of tax stabilization for what is now 101 to 103 Franklin Street, formerly known as 63 Cherry Street. Make sure I don't have that in reverse. It's 63, okay, all right. And that was changed based on 911 requirements for street addresses. So if you see it revered the other way, it's the same property, it's the corner property, it's about a half acres in size. And as you know, under tax stabilization authorities granted by the city voters in 2012, and based on Title 24, subject to subsection 274, we have the authority to proceed if we so choose. So I'm going to read that and what the proposal is, and then I'm going to make that as a motion and look for a seconder, and then we can discuss it further if we so choose. And certainly let the president of the company speak to it. So moving forward, let me say that pursuant to, and I want to be specific about this because it is very specific, Title 24, Municipal and County Government, Chapter 75, Economic Development, cited as VSA subsection 2741, letter A, and I'm going by number 3. There's 3 options. So I'm proposing number 3. As authorized also by the city voters in 2012, the Community and Economic Development Committee recommends the Board of Aldermen enter into a 10-year tax stabilization contract with Socera, if I'm saying that right, Properties, LLC, for the development of a 2-building, 12-unit multifamily dwelling at 101 through 103 Franklin Street by fixing the amount of, and this is what number 3 allows you to do, by fixing the amount of money which shall be paid as an annual tax upon such property for the municipal portion only, and not the education portion, which we are clear we don't have the ability to do, according to the following schedule commencing April 1st. Year 1 through 5, $10,000 annually, so that would be 2026 through 2030. And years 6 through 10, $15,000 annually, which would be years 2031 through 2035. Tax rate then would be normalized year 11, which would be 2036. And I would so move.
Second.
So it's been made and seconded according to that description. So why don't I ask Claire Purcell, president of that LLC, is here, and maybe you just want to tell us a little bit about the project, and then I'll, if you don't mind, open it up for any questions folks might have about this.
Sure.
development. Yeah.
Great, and thank you for the consistent and organized response, and for having me tonight. Cherry Street was purchased a year and a half ago. It's about a half-acre quarter block identified as a potential site for infill by the program that came through Rutland a few years ago, and in an effort to point out where we could build new homes. We have secured a modular builder to build the 12 units. It'll be 2 separate buildings. And we have built these units based on information that we've received from researching potential renters in the area and what they're looking for, as well as referencing the current design standards. So it has a gabled roof, it has siding, it has awnings that are always referencing that northern New England style, while also bringing in some of the features that renters are really looking for, which is private balconies, car parks, off-street car parks, so there's 1 car park for every unit. As well, there'll be a couple of EV chargers and visitor spots. And it's a fully energy efficient building, so we'll have heat pumps sprinkled, and use only electricity, as well as having electrical backups for those very cold days. But the heat pumps, as we just heard, they're pretty amazing now, doing really well at the cold levels that we get. So we have the ground floor apartments will all be ADA adaptable. 1 will be coming out initially ADA accessible, so that means the kitchens will be lower. It's the only difference. But all the other ground floors will have room for ADA if people want it. So we can put the bars up, we can put the ramps in. And this is really important because we have an aging population that are really looking for places that they can downsize to. And they're looking for quality, they're looking for safety, and they're looking for ADA accessibility that they can potentially age in place. So I'm excited that 4 of these, 2 are 1 bedroom and 2 are 2 bedroom. I'm excited that 4 of these will be accessible for that market. The other 8 units are 2 bedroom units, and they will be on the 2nd and 3rd levels to walk up to. The rentals right now, as you may know, my last project we did rentals between 2,100 and 2,400. They were downtown. My goal is to, with every project I do, to bring the rental amounts down, because I'm learning how to do it more efficiently, and making it more accessible to more Rutlanders is really important. And showing that we can rehab, make quality apartments, and make them at an affordable, for most, space is important. As we know, we need all kinds of housing, not just affordable, but also at the top. Taking pressure off by building housing at the top also creates housing, more housing for people at the lower end of the market. So the rents right now are $2,000 a month for 2-bedroom apartments. One of the units at the bottom is a 2-bedroom apartment that the 2-bedroom apartments at the bottom will be $2,200. Those 2 units are, 10 of the units are covered by VHFA, so Vermont Housing Finance Association. We've received funding from them for 35% of the construction costs. The rest of the construction costs will be coming from HFCU, excuse me, the acronyms are next level in Vermont, HFCU, and that's from the Roofs Over Rutland program. On this one, I have also opened it up to investment. My husband and I own Cicero Properties, and our goal is to develop as many houses as we can. And so spreading our own personal cash by having other investors match what we're putting in allows us to do 3, 4, 5 properties and developments rather than just 1 or 2, and also to spread the Roofs Over Rutland funding as over multiple properties rather than just putting it all into one. So it's exciting to bring in all these different parties, and I would welcome the opportunity to bring the city of Rutland into it as well. In order to keep the rents at that level, we need a tax stabilization. The property is currently generating $1,200 a year in tax as a vacant block of land. And what I've done is just calculated back. Okay, this is how much I have to pay the banks. This is how much we have to pay for all the expenses. And then this is how much I have left to get to what's called a DSCR rate, which stands for Debt Servicing Capacity Ratio. Okay, she knows. Again, I'll just stick with my acronyms. DSCR. Anyway, they need that to be 1.3. That's the ideal to get the loan through. And so what was left over was the $10,000 that has been proposed. After 5 years, we will have slight rent increases. They are committed to be at only 2% maximum per year, and I'm hopeful we won't even need to do that, depending on vacancy rates. And so that will allow us to increase at year 6 up to $20,000 to the city. So yeah, the city is going to get more taxes than it has right now. And in 10 years' time, my hope, to be honest, if in 10 years' time we redid the pro forma at today's tax rates, it would be a 6-figure, I think it would be a very large, 70 to 100,000 a year that the property would need to be paying in taxes, which is not sustainable. But I really believe in Rutland. I believe that we're going to have a lot more development over the next 10 years, and that we will see that tax rate shift downwards percentage-wise as our grand list values grow. And I'm proud to be a very small part of that. But I do want to highlight that any developer coming and suggesting a tax stabilization that ends at 10 years is taking that bet on Rutland. And I'm proud to do so and excited, and hope that many other developers will follow me in creating new constructed housing, because we haven't had any for a very long time for the reasons that have been, very obvious. But yeah, so I'd like to open it up for any questions that you have.
Yeah, and I know that you've spoken to some neighbors. I have to walk that area on my lunch hours, and one of the neighbors had said that you had stopped by and had described everything. They seem to be quite supportive, frankly.
Yeah, I actually really love community engagement, and I never want to be a developer that just, doesn't know the community. You have to know the community that you're building in. We actually held 3 different events. One, I just walked around and said hi, dropped off a letter, and the other 2 were just, they were able to come out and chat, and then we're in contact via email. So a lot of the designs that you see there, for instance, there's a road that goes through, rather than driveways pulling out, it goes around. And the direction of that was based on what the residents and neighbors say the cars move in. So it's better for them to come out on this road because this road is narrower, there's less cars going on it, so it'll create less neighborhood traffic. So
They're very nice looking buildings. I like the on-site laundry and the courtyard too, so
yes.
put a lot of thought into the design, it seems.
Really trying to bring in a lot of our values of, beautiful and spaces, for people need beautiful spaces to live and to be happy. The aesthetic that we put ourselves in matters to human happiness. And so we're also looking at having a lot of native plants in the landscape and continuing the care for the environment, for both humans and the environment in those things.
So questions from the committee? Or any alderman? Alderwoman Tadia.
Sorry, I'm actually not on the committee, but
That's all right. Go right ahead, please.
yeah, I'm just really excited about the work that you have put into this project. We consistently hear, what does Rutland need? More housing, and this is a clear plan to make that happen. So I think that anything that we as a board can do to facilitate that is really important at this time that housing is so needed, and especially lower, more affordable housing for
We could say worker housing. I think that's, the middle income, worker housing.
Worker housing, sure, yeah.
Alderwoman McClure.
To that point, I think I might be the only renter in the room. What you outlined is very on par with the market right now. As a renter, look around, look at places to move, look at places to go. $2,000 a month, especially if you have a roommate, is not bad. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Great. And your pets are welcome.
Even
All
better.
about dogs.
Even better. I'm even more sold.
Other questions for?
So I don't really have a question. It's more of just a couple of things. A few years ago, even prior to my becoming mayor, there was an effort to revitalize the northwestern section of the city. And a lot of effort and a lot of money and a lot of time. And I think a lot of folks were involved in that and really made it, transform that whole neighborhood. And I think we're seeing the fruits of that. And that's Sharon, Billy, both live up in there. And one of the things that I wanted to do, and just ran out of time, but I knew eventually it would come, would be to try to target the neighborhood that you are looking to develop.
Yep.
Because I think that has been neglected, that section right behind downtown for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think your proposal sounds like it fits the bill. So I support it, and I hope it's fruitful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I would say that we've been using the phrase inner west or the West End, and again, it's really up to the neighbors and the people that live there. But I think that seeing it in a different light, seeing that it's got beautiful big streets, wonderful trees, and the streetscaping work, the fixing of the streets. I don't know who I should be looking at. Honestly, yeah, fixing the streets, it changes it. When you drive through it as someone looking to develop, as someone looking to buy, that matters. It makes you more confident as an investor. that I'm getting, you know, your goal as a developer, as an investor, is always to buy the worst house on the best street, is what everyone says, right? So no one's afraid of bad houses. They're afraid of bad neighborhoods. And you've done a wonderful job in the last year or two fixing the feel of the neighborhoods. And I think that's an important thing to maintain, especially as we think about, you know, I know that budget is an issue and you did a great job, you know, managing these really tough decisions, and it's going to be a tough year for it. You know, yeah. And we can make smart decisions as well about what we put in places and where we invest our money. So,
And if I could just put a plug in for Jim Rotunda, who was our previous Commissioner of Public Works, who really was the impetus between, about putting, when we redo a street, Forest Street, for example,
Yep.
that we do a complete street, and I know Mike's continued on that, and that's really does make a difference. Makes a huge
trees.
difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Trees, sidewalks, curbs, the whole
These
thing.
things really, really matter. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Alderwoman
So
Davis.
I think for me, Claire, is that the presence of a landlord, the presence of having someone local, because we've had such terrible situations with absentee landlords. You know, the houses are either running down or it's just the clientele that occupy the apartments. And so I think it's, and that neighborhood is certainly one that struggles as well. And I think the benefit of having someone local overseeing that property is going to be huge for that neighborhood.
Yeah, thank you. And there are some very proud land and household owners in that neighborhood. I meet, there are mostly owner occupiers, very strongly proud of that area and really look after their homes and really want to make sure that that area maintains that direction. So, yeah.
I would also point out the project does have some municipal support internally, that you already have your zoning permit approved.
Yep.
And I spent quite a bit of time with the city assessor to make sure that we were doing this correctly in her eyes, which we are. So,
Okay, great, thank you.
with that, I would like to thank the Rutland Redevelopment Authority again, and your board for bringing this forward to the Board of Aldermen. Elizabeth Coolidge.
Thank you, Tom. You all know me as the former director of the Housing Trust and having done affordable housing work in Rutland City for the past 30 years. And I just want to add two comments that you haven't typically heard from me. One is very personal. Kiana is not the only renter in the room. I'm a renter too. And when I needed to find a new place to live with my son, I knew the housing stock in Rutland pretty darn well, and I could not find a place as a working professional that met my standards, which are the standards of the Housing Trust, someplace that I would want to live. So it's really wonderful that market rate housing is being developed by the private sector, and it has not happened in my 30 years in Rutland, which is my second comment. The only way it's going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen, is with commitments like this from the municipality to help these projects get launched. They will, of course, be standing for many years to come and providing many tax dollars that we don't currently have. So I'm just so grateful that Claire is here, and obviously that the hotel project has units too. But anything you can do in any of these projects, it's the but for. It really, truly is. So thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Alderman Gillum, maybe the last word?
Just a personal note.
Oh, no, we got Alderman Whitcomb too. Sorry, he gets the last word. Go ahead.
My first home, when I was born, was across the street from that property on the corner of Franklin and Brown Street. We lived in a butter tub, that's what they called it. At the time, it was a 4-unit. It was my parents' first home.
That's a great spot.
So that neighborhood's very dear to me, so.
I think it holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts.
Plus, we're Mountie graduates.
And we're Mountie
It's such a great spot.
We
and
walk by there all the time, late sometimes.
It's this huge park. I mean, it's just a wonderful area. So yeah, if we can invest in it. It's got those basic the foundations that could be wonderful. I think there's one other thing, but I did just want to say that tax stabilizations and having that really clear in a developer's mind that you could get one, I think could help to unlock some more developer housing. I'm a little bit of a truffle pig in that I'll go hunting for where I can get money or save money, but not everyone's like that. I've talked to a number of people who chose not to take out roofs over Rutland's loans because they couldn't make the math. And so, yes, I just wanted to say that maybe we could think about how we, if you're open to it, I think it's a no regrets move. You're not going to get you either keep it as the tax base right now, or you open it, make sure Rutland's open for tax stabilizations and maybe get people building. So just a thought.
Yeah. Alderman Whitcomb, how about you with last
This will be
word?
quick.
Yeah,
I just want
okay.
to take the last word away from Bill, really.
I mean,
You're going to.
Yeah. Clearly, the project looks great. The numbers look great. The one question I have, and this is projecting way into the future, when year 11 hits, how do you smooth the impact so that there's not like a passing on a cost to the tenants at the time?
yeah, so there's two things. The main one is refinancing. So after 10 years, like a lot of the loan well, not a lot, but some of the loan, as you know, that you pay down is principal. And so after 10 years, you've paid off some of that loan, and so you refinance the payments again over another 25-year period, so it reduces your debt. And then my second hope is that there will be a percentage drop of tax rates.
That's all our hopes.
Yep. And so, so it's not so bumpy. But even if we just refinance it, there will be some increase in tax rates if there's no reduction in the rent. There will be some the other way around. There will be some increase in rents if there's no reduction in tax, but it won't be huge. It will just be It will be a refinancing.
But as another option, you would be free at that point from your VHFA attachments and so forth to condominiumize them and sell them accordingly if you so choose, right?
Correct, yeah, and I actually, again, to make a plug for home ownership over rentals, I understand why we go for rentals when we have these affordable projects. And you will always get better housing stock when people personally own it themselves, because it's an investment for them. And so if we can work out, and it's not just to the people in this room, but at state level as well, programs that facilitate first home buying. A lot today, at these rates, you can afford a mortgage for the amount that you're paying in rent in many cases.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so it's really just about helping people with the deposit and also to find somewhere that is in their budget. Yeah. The ones I will bring you coming, there's 2 other projects in the pipeline. None of them are using VHFA funding. And so my goal is to actually try to sell them off the plan and make them like a purchasable unit, because there's nothing like that available right now. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, if there's nothing further, I'm going to go ahead and call the question. Does everybody know what we're doing? Committee, I guess. I mean, other board members too, because we want your votes later. But if not, all those in favor of the motion then to approve according to the description I laid out earlier, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. And we have all the committee members here, so I want to thank everybody for being here, and so many other board members, which will certainly help on February 17th when we bring it to the full board for final approval. So,
And I'll move to
Thank you so
adjourn.
much.
motion to adjourn, do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, please
Aye.
signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carries, we're adjourned.
Snowy.
Thank you, everybody.
Really hard.